The current champions, Chelsea, traveled to Etihad Stadium to take on champions-elect, Manchester City. City were the dominant team in this game and could have won with a much higher scoreline. Chelsea, on the other hand, never looked like scoring even one goal the whole game. Before we get into that, let's take a look at how these teams lined up. City lined up similar to how they played against Arsenal after Fernandinho got injured. But in this match, Guardiola's team was using one tactic a lot that was causing Chelsea trouble. We'll take a look at that tactic after we take a look at how Chelsea lined up. Conte decided to go with the same lineup he used against Barcelona, with the exception of Conte because of an injury. Again, Conte left out Morata and Giroud on the bench. In my opinion, Conte should have gone with a centre forward so they had a target man. I touched over this in my previous video on Chelsea vs Barcelona. Conte was ready to defend for the most part and hit City on counter, the same game plan Chelsea used against Barcelona. But City weren't going back like Barcelona did. City's creative players also weren't coming deep time and time again like Messi and Iniesta. Pep wanted his creative players to stay in their positions. This was made possible by Pep playing Zinchenko and Walker as inverted fullbacks. Let's go into a bit more detail. Usually, the fullbacks are wide and a bit higher up, but Pep wanted his fullbacks to essentially become an extra midfielder and come inside while the ball was on the other side of the field. This forced Pedro to basically mark two players at the same time. Notice how Walker runs back to drag Pedro away from De Bruyne. This was causing Chelsea trouble right from the start, as they were having a difficult time dealing with City's inverted fullbacks. The inverted fullbacks played a vital role when defending as well. Notice how Zinchenko is able to break Chelsea's counter due to his position. If Zinchenko was wide, Willian would have plenty of space in front of him. But the inverted fullback allows City to break down a counterattack before it gets dangerous. This made it difficult for Chelsea to get out of their own half after winning the ball. And often lost the ball right away trying to counterattack. That combined with City's high pressure all over the field made sure that City had majority of the possession. What made it worse is that Chelsea were being forced to go back due to City's high pressure time and time again, and kept going long as a result. This is where Giroud would have come handy, as Chelsea had no one to target when going long. If you don't agree with me, then listen to what Gary Neville and Thierry Henry has to say about this matter.
I'm going to pass it back to Courtois as much. He may as well have played Giroud if they're going to lump it forward.
But I just cannot understand why they're not playing with a 9.
Conte was relying on Chelsea's shape to nullify City's attacking threat, just like he did against Barcelona. But City's creative midfielders did a good job to cause Chelsea trouble. Let's take a closer look at the creative midfielders. In case you want to learn more about City's midfielders, check out the pop-up on the top right. Silva and De Bruyne like to get into little pockets of space in behind the midfield. This area causes the opposition's defense trouble because it leaves them in an enigma. Azpilicueta either has to step up and leave space in behind with Sane ready, or allow Silva to receive the ball in space. When the defender does step up to mark the player in space, it leaves space in behind which other forwards can exploit. That made it difficult for the Chelsea defenders to effectively mark the creative midfielders. They were also free to roam around and play close to each other once the ball was in the final third. Notice how Kevin De Bruyne fills in for Silva when he's deep, and while De Bruyne comes a bit deep, Silva gets into space. The movement by City players was great and kept creating spaces near Chelsea's box for City to exploit. Notice how Silva creates space for De Bruyne by dragging Drinkwater away. All this made sure that City were in the driving seat right from the start, as they kept threatening Chelsea's goal. Chelsea, on the other hand, were having a difficult time dealing with City. The only way they were able to get upfield was by switching the play, as City were playing narrow. But I feel like Chelsea should have used this more, because every time Chelsea switched to play, they were able to get somewhat close to City's box. The other way they kept on trying, which was counter-attack, did not work as Chelsea got too isolated in the final third. City's high pressure kept causing Chelsea trouble. City were threatening Chelsea's goal right until the halftime whistle. While Chelsea kept trying to make something happen from counterattacks. But City did a good job to defend against a threat every single time. The first half ended goalless. Chelsea did not even manage to get one shot at target in the first half. Guardiola likes his wingers to always make a run at the back post. Sterling has scored because of this numerous times this season. So it's not really a surprise this happened 30 seconds into the second half. After conceding the goal, Chelsea did not look determined to get back into the game at all, while City were still causing Chelsea trouble. Chelsea were still having a difficult time with the ball, due to City's high pressure. City were now more relaxed in ball retention, as Chelsea did not look like they wanted to win the ball back at all. As a result, City was having to go from one side of the field to the other without any real pressure. But in this half, Chelsea were trying to play from the back, something they weren't doing in the first half. This was a good move as it stretched City out whenever Chelsea were able to get away from the pressure and got them a field. The problem for Chelsea was that they were having a difficult time linking up in the final third. This was not that common though, as City did a good job at limiting their opportunities when Chelsea tried to play from the back. Fabregas was poor for Chelsea as his passes often gave the ball away. He was the player everyone looked up to when expecting a pass in behind the defense. And so was Pedro when counterattacking. Chelsea were slowly getting back into the game, as they continued to get closer to Ederson's goal. But not being able to link up in the final third was a big blow for Chelsea's attacks, as it let City off the hook multiple times. In the 78th minute, Conte brought on Giroud for Willian, but it was too late as Chelsea couldn't even manage to create one good chance after these changes. While City kept trying to get a goal to extend their lead. The game ended with Pep's Manchester City emerging victorious, while Conte struggles to win yet another game. Manchester City is out of the FA Cup and have already won the Carabao Cup. The league is pretty much done and dusted, so Pep can basically shift his focus on winning the Champions League. How do you think Pep will do in the Champions League? Also, do you think Conte should have gone with Giroud? I would love to hear what you guys think, so let me know down in the comments below.